he took advantage of me because I did not consent to have intercourse with him. I had never skipped 3 months, so it would go like 1 month, 2 months at most. So I'm like, hey, now I started thinking, now most probably I'm already pregnant. And my aunt is like, Aki, hizo results zikitoka negative, nitasema haleluya 3 ni hospitali, wagonjwa wote wapone.
Welcome viewers once again to the Conquerors show right here on Wema TV. My name is Laura Lepore, I'm your host today, and we continue with our guest from last week, Tunda Munga, talking to us about her journey from escaping the female genital mutilation cut to where she is today. We'd like to hear from her because last week was so action-packed we couldn't finish it in one episode, but we're so overjoyed to have her in studio once again today. So Tunda Munga, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Laura. Glad that you've had me again. And let me start from where I left last week. So now I'm in high school, and there are these campaigns for anti-FGM campaigns.
Yes.
So mind you, I've joined high school, and I also have students or friends who were in my former school, in the same school. So, and everyone knows that I went for the cut. So now we are looking for ambassadors, and so I joined the ambassadors, and my friends were like, "I Tunda, why are you lying?
Why are you lying to people?
Yeah, why are you lying to people?" Like, no, I didn't. You know, it was very serious because my friends were like, or people from my place were like, "I Tunda, you, this is not right. You're not doing right."
Yeah.
And like, I almost wanted to tell them, "How do you want to prove?" You know,
that would be awkward.
You know, yeah, right. So it was such that when we closed school, I go back home. Then there was this youth camp, and the church had also intensified the campaigns of anti-FGM, and so they were looking also for people who will be role models to others and encourage other young girls not to go through the cut. So the pastor calls. He's like, if there is anyone in front there, the youths who have not gone through the cut, you can come. It's like, wow. So I stand. And the pastor himself thinks had also gotten the rumors that I went for it. So,
oh, no.
So he looks at me, he's like, "Hey, Tunda."
Are you sure?
Yes. I'm like, "No, I didn't." He actually came to where I was in church, in front of the church, and he's like, "Tunda, we call people who not go through the cut." I was like, "I am one of them." So how did it happen? It's like, I told him it was a lie, you know. Whatever rumors were going around was a lie. I just lied so that to ease pressure on myself.
Yeah.
So so now we started the campaigns, and you see, FGM is I would say it's a disadvantage to a woman, because how God created us is he created us in a way that we are able, even especially during birth, because it makes it difficult for us indigenous women when we go through the cut. It makes it difficult, or our delivery time becomes tougher, because the recovery time takes long, because you already have a wound that had been healed, but during birth then the wound
is opened
again. So you take a lot of time to nurse the wound. So that's why you would find that we would stay for some time, like 2-3 months at home, just because you need to heal, and we're also nursing the baby, and there are also all these things that come with pregnancy, and so the challenges that come with just normal pregnancy. So it adds the wound. So so I'm very glad that I was able to go through that phase, and I'm internally happy and grateful to my mother for allowing God to use her to help me through that, and it puts me in a position to be able also to help people who are having such challenges. And even if you went through it, because our parents went through it, but it's something that we did not really know about, and sometimes we cannot, you cannot be judged for that, and it's part of culture. And I love being Maasai. I'm a proud Maasai,
Yes, you are.
Yeah. And this is something I even if today I was to come back, I would still ask God to come as a Maasai. Yeah. So now I'm in high school, in Form 3. Guys, girls, and friends are having boyfriends. So we go for games. We go for drama festivals. Everyone is hooking up with somebody. I didn't have a boyfriend, so then this holiday, my friend had a brother who had just completed high school, so he would come visiting. So, and he was a funny guy. So I liked him for fun, just the way he would crack jokes. And then at some point he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was like, oh, why not? Everyone has a girlfriend. So now I'm having this boyfriend who is not in school. They are going to join college. And this holiday we go home, come back to school on opening day. Then my friend asked me not to remit my school fees or to give the bazaar. So I didn't. I stayed with we would pay school fees via money order, so I stayed with my money order. Then and the reason why she asked me not to give out the slip is because she had not paid school fees, so she knew after 1 week we will be sent home
together.
So now I will be sent home. Now I'll not go home. I'll go to their home. So after 1 week, true to her word, we were sent home. I went to her place. My mom knows I'm in school. So I go there. Then my boyfriend is not there. He had gone. He had been sent somewhere. So, and that day we reached home. Then the parents were leaving. They were coming. They were going for a family function in somewhere in Limuru. So they left us. They said my friend will be coming back to school after the weekend. So I was like, let me stay with you because this is Friday.
Yeah.
And I'll go back on Sunday. Because your parents are coming on Sunday, then you will find me on Monday. So we stayed there. The next day, now my so-called boyfriend comes home. And he comes late. Me and my friend are at my boyfriend's house. Alikuwa na kibuko. Unajua, the way young men walikuwa wakipita hiyo passage of right wanapewa kanyumba kao. So sasa alikuwa na kanyumba na alikuwa na TV. So sasa tulikuwa tunawatch huko ma movie na my friend. Then when the guy comes, he comes at around 10. So my girlfriend leaves us with the dude. So now that we are left there, and something I tell girls, and I share my story, and why I share my story is so that people learn from the mistakes I made, because most of the time we make mistakes, and we don't share so that other people can learn from our mistakes and not do them. Because I usually say experience is the worst teacher. It's not the best teacher. It's the worst teacher. So now I was lying on his bed with the head outside watching the television. So then my friend was seated in the couch. So he comes, he sits in the couch, then my friend leaves us. Gafla bin vu, eh? We are left there. So this dude wakes up and goes to bed, eh? So he comes and lies like the way I was laying, eh? And I was very naive. In short, at the end of it, he took advantage of me because I did not consent to have intercourse with him. And I actually left that house crying and sobbing, and I went to my friend's place and I was like, your brother did this to me. And she's like, Tuna, you for real? I was like, yeah, you know. But one thing I feared, I did not want to disclose to my parents. One, I am illegally out of school.
Out of school, yeah.
So there was no adult. I feared to express that. And that is something I also usually encourage people to do. When something happens and it's terrible, something you're not happy about, then it's good for you to talk about it because it will continue eating you from the inside.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and my mom was very tough, a very tough woman.
Yeah, you mentioned in the last episode she was very staunch at church and everything.
And she was the man in the house, she was the lioness.
The lion.
She was the lion and the lioness at the same time. So it was hard even to talk to my mother. I actually started talking to my mom when I got to campus.
Wow.
Like sitting down and having a conversation, you know. So I go back to school on Sunday. No one knows at home that I was at any time out of school since the opening day. So this is January. So this is the third term. So it's somewhere in September. So we break for holidays, Christmas holidays. They were usually very long. So now when I go home, I realized I've not had my periods for the last 2 months. But I was like, I think it's just okay because we as ladies will relate to this, that sometimes they would skip, you know, 2 months, 3 months. So the first 2 months I was like, Now the third month I was, because I had never skipped 3 months, so it would go like 1 month, 2 months at most. So I'm like, hey, now I started thinking, now most probably I'm already pregnant. So I try calling my friend. I'm like, this is happening, and she's like, Tuna, are you for real? I'm like, 3 months now. So she's like, you need to make sure that you confirm. But there was no other way because I am deep in the village. I don't know any other means, like apart from going to the hospital and asking the doctor, please, I want to get tested for pregnancy.
And you didn't have any other symptoms?
No, I didn't have any symptoms. Wow. So I go back to school. Now it's January. I'm supposed to go back to school. I'm 4 months pregnant already. So but I've not confirmed. But I'm like, no, this is it, you know. I am so scared. I don't know what to tell my mother. I don't know what to tell the world. I was this person in the church, you know. I was an official in the Christian Union. I was an official in church. So all these things were dawning to me, and it was crazy. So I decided I'm not going to waste my mother's school fees. What I'm going to do, I'll just look for this guy and tell him that I am pregnant. So this opening day, I look for the guy. He's not available. He's out of town. He's somewhere in Nakuru. So he's like, I called him. He's like, what is it? I'm like, I just want to see you. He's like, he's coming back. So he wanted me to tell him on phone. I said, no, I'm not going to tell you. I will just find me. So I refused to go to school. I am. My aunt realizes that I'm not going to school. Like I'm trying to dilly-dally. So she calls me. She's like, Tunda, do you have school fees with you? I was like, yes. have you paid? No, she insisted. Go to the bank and pay. I go get the money order, I come back. Then she's like, where is the money order? It's here in the bag. Put it in the bag. I had these 2 rucksack, the small bags we would put when we were in high school. So, so auntie says, no, this girl doesn't want to go to school. So she insists that I take a taxi and go to school. So she calls a taxi. I get in, I put my bag, I forget the rucksack. So now when we...
You forgot on purpose?
No,
Okay.
it was not on purpose. So after we reached somewhere not near the school, just still in town, I told the guy, please, I'm not going to school, let me pay you. You go to your work, I'll get another taxi. So I call another taxi. I put my things. I call the guy now, the boyfriend. He's like, call so and so and have your bags. Have him have your bags. So I call him. I give him my bags. Then we are with my cousin, and as we were doing my rounds up, we go somewhere. I'm asking. I met my friend in town. I told her what was happening. She was going to school, and she was like, Tunda, you just need to abort. You just need to get rid of that baby, otherwise your life is done.
What?
So I'm like, wow, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
So she tells me there is this doctor who is known in doing this. He's an expert, and he's in this building. So when I hook up with my cousin, I'm like, where is the building? Now the name of the building. So he shows. He's like, now my cousin was with another friend of his, also from our village, but he had gone to India. He'd just come from India. He was studying law from India. So he hears me asking, where is this building? And he shows me, and I'm like, do you know Dr. So-and-so? Now my cousin didn't answer me. The friend answers me. Hey, that guy is known in this town. He's an expert in abortion, you know.
What?
But now he doesn't just stop there. He goes ahead to give a story of a family friend who went to do an abortion there. Then they give her some medicine. She goes home, and then the baby will just come out, or the fetus will come out from home. So when she was given this medication, she goes home, she overbleeds. She almost died. They were looking for blood transfusion and stuff like that. So the story was very scary. I was like, wow, this is not something I want to do. So from then I decided I'm going to keep this baby, and whatever comes, let it come. Even if I'll be a street person, I'll be a street person with my baby. So I would say that guy was just used by God to help me not undergo that process, or to divert my mind from the thoughts to do the abortion. So so now I'm there. My aunt realizes I don't have the
bag
the rucksack is in the shop.
Oh no.
So for some reason, or at some point, he saw the taxi that he had called. So she called the guy. Where did you take the girl to school? Because she left her bag and her school fees. So the guy was like, no. She said she doesn't want me to take her to school. So what did you do? We transferred her things to so-and-so's car. Narok is a small town, so everyone knows everyone. So my auntie now started looking for the guy, the taxi that now had my school bag. She now, when she was going round, she actually boarded this taxi to look for the other taxi.
Oh, okay.
Now they were looking for me. Now they saw the guy and they were asking him, hey, where did you take Tunda? He's like, no, she's with her cousin somewhere, but I have her things. So my aunt demands for my things. She picks them, she puts it in the taxi, then goes back to the shop. Now they started looking for my cousin. So the guy was assigned actually to look for us because we are just in town, you know. So he saw us at some petrol station and he's like, your aunt is looking for you, and she's so mad. So now I decided I just have to go. I went home to my aunt's place. I found her there furious. She's like, Tunda, what is happening? So I just had to tell her.
You told her the truth.
I told her I suspect I'm pregnant, and that's why I didn't want to go to school. That's why I didn't want to pay school fees, and that's it. Because it's already evening, it's around 7, so she's like, we just sleep, and tomorrow we are going to confirm your fears. So I sleep. The next day we woke up, and she asked me who is responsible. I said, the guy. Now apparently the mother is a chair lady in my aunt's church, women's chair lady. So,
It's a small one.
So my aunt calls the mother.
Oh no.
It's like, our daughter is pregnant and she's saying that your son is responsible. So the mother is the one actually who told the guy that Tunda is pregnant for you.
Oh, so you hadn't met with him yet?
No. I will not even meet him. Because now I will go to school. My aunt takes me to hospital. Now we are waiting. The doctor asks for a sample of urine. We are there waiting for the results. And my aunt is like, Aki, hizo results zikitoka negative, nitasema haleluya 3 ni hospitali. Wagonjwa wote wapone. Akinamhurumia, ninamwangalia akinamhurumia. Like, oh my God. You know. Yeah, because now it's 4 months, so I'm so sure now I'm just pregnant, even though it's not showing. So the results come and the doctor says I'm 4 months pregnant, and my aunt, I saw her, she really got heartbroken. She was like, it's okay, let's go, you have to go to school. So she takes me to school herself. And she doesn't just take me, she goes and reports me to the deputy headmaster. I have brought the girl and the girl is pregnant.
Oh my.
So the deputy, lucky enough, he was a very good man. And he was actually the patron of the Christian Union. And this is an official who has been reported. Oh my God. So he was like, Tunda, what happened? Of course, those are stories you can't really explain, you know. So I stay in school. So he says, you just have to stay in school because now you're in Form 4, you have to register. Once you've registered, you have to go back home and wait for the baby to come, then you'll just come sit the exams. So I'm in school. My auntie feared that I might try to run from school, so that's why she had to report. Because when we were coming, she had said we will not report, we'll just keep quiet. I go finish that term, then when the pregnancy, by the time they are realizing the term is almost ending. But now somewhere she just felt that she had that fear. Because we had actually left. She had left, then she came back. Then the deputy called me that your aunt is here, you know. So then the deputy called the lady, the teacher who was in charge of guidance and counseling. I was actually in the guidance and counseling club.
What were you not
I was so many things, so many good things. You know. So and now the opposite is happening, you know. Wow. So the lady calls me, she's like, Tunda, I know when people are pregnant, sometimes you have these cravings. Whenever you have that craving, just let me know what you're craving. I really thank God that I had a lot of people who really supported me throughout that journey. But now the worst was the headmistress. When she heard that I was pregnant, she's like, no, we cannot have a pregnant woman in the school, you know. This is a school for young girls, not mothers. So.
Oh, no. And so you would also be like a bad example to
the others. So, but I still thank God. The deputy really tried to intervene on my behalf. Then my cousin also, who was in the Ministry of Education, also did some intervention. So I stayed in school, but they said once now the pregnancy starts to show, then I have to go home. I can't continue being in school. I am telling you, that was the hardest, the toughest time of my life. The nights were long. I had this cubicle because I was a prefect. I was in the
You
team.
also a prefect.
So I had a room for myself. So I would lock myself there and cry the whole night. And in the morning I would wake up and go to school. And there's something I forgot. Just before now we went for the tests, the like actual tests, the hospital tests. I don't know where this came from. There was a biology teacher who said that frogs can be used to test pregnancies.
Okay.
Yes, and male frogs. So I went at some point I went hunting for a male frog.
Okay.
And I actually caught a male frog. I know that is so funny. I know. Yes. And I tested, and actually it worked, and I knew that's by the time now we were going to my aunt's place. Even if I told her that I was not sure, I was actually sure from the frog test. Yeah, I'll give you the details later.
Why is that not a thing in the hospital?
Because frogs are not everywhere, so. And there are advanced ways of testing pregnancies. I think it's a very indigenous, local way of testing pregnancy. Yeah, very creative, I must say. So I actually tested with the frog, male frog. You still test with your urine. Yeah, there's a way they react when there's those enzymes of someone who is pregnant. I don't know whether they are enzymes or something. These are cells, the pregnancy. So, so I'm in school. My cousins intervenes, so I continue being in school. Then it comes a place now we've registered for the exams, so I have to leave the school because now I'm growing big and I'm almost getting, actually, I'm 8 months pregnant in school. 8 months. Yes. So this is now the second term. So I came to register for the KCSE. But my pregnancy was not that big. So it was just the beginning of 8 months. So it was not showing, but I would wear sweaters and stuff, so most of the time. So I have to clear from school, and I go around asking teachers to clear me. So they're like, some of them would just clear me, then there are some of them who would refuse. They're like, Tunda, you have to tell me, you can't be clearing school right now, and you're almost sitting for the exams. I'm like, where are you going? It's like, I'm transferring. There's no way you can transfer, you know. You've already registered for the exams. Like, I just want to go and learn from another school. But it was hard. Some of them had to. I just had to tell them that what was happening. And one of my English teacher was like, Tunda, when I told her that I was pregnant, I was expectant, she was, Tunda, you ate the forbidden fruit. It's like, oh my God. Wow. That was funny. But of course, at that point, I was crying, and you know.
So all this time, do people at home know?
Yeah, no, after my aunt actually reported to my mom, that was the person I feared most. That, and I didn't know how she would react. So now when I go home, I didn't go home. I refused actually to go home. So, and my aunt and my uncle were like, I should stay with them. So I stay back with them in town because it was easy for me to be in Narok town because the school is in Narok town. Then there are so many teachers around, so it was easy for me to continue learning from home. So but that first period when I went home was very difficult because that shame, you know, it was hard for me to go out to, you know, when people come, I would hide in the house, and my aunt is a pastor's wife, so you can imagine there was a lot of traffic in the home. So I would hide most of the time when people come. So that one day she sat me down and she's like, Tunda, you just need to pick yourself up and accept that this is the situation you are in right now, and there's nothing you can change about it. And if it's about people, people will always be there and they will always talk, you know. So it's better you go out, let them talk, then they will keep quiet, you know. So they get used to you. So from there, I became free to go out. I would go to the town. I would help do things even in town.
So you are still pregnant at that time?
I am pregnant, so then I would go to my teachers, they would bring me past papers, and I would take them back for marking and stuff like that. So
they supported you at least?
Yeah, a lot. I'm eternally grateful. And unfortunately, our English teacher and the mathematics teacher are no longer with us, like they passed away. I just pray that God rests their soul in eternal peace. They really helped me through that journey. And now when the time came to deliver my baby, I got my baby, and in that term I went back to school because the baby came in July. So that June, not July. So I was home June, July, August, and in September I went back to school
to do your exams.
To do my exam. I actually boarded. I stopped breastfeeding. My mom said she would stay with the baby, so I went back to school fully. And
how was it? You know, you're the only mother in school.
I had good friends, I would say. They accepted me. They were actually happy. That day I came to school.
Wow.
It was during assembly, and when I came out, I wow, you know. Yeah, it felt nice to be back with my peers. But of course, deep inside, it was not the same, you know, because I stayed with that thing, that shame for some time. Even when I went to college, I still felt, you know, I was never comfortable talking about my story and talking about my son. And at some point, and whoever I told, they were like, no, Tunda, you're lying. I was like, no, I have a baby. But now, of course, they will believe me because now it's me who's saying, you know. Yeah. But now, it was not something I was proud of. But after some time, I realized that my baby is going to suffer rejection because of this thing that I'm carrying. Then I had this bitterness for men. So such that when I went to college, I was so rough and tough.
Rough and tough.
Guys that I schooled with in college first year, they were like, there is one who actually reported me to the director. She's like, this lady is mean.
Oh, no.
You know? Yeah, I was bad. Because every time I saw a man coming near me, I thought about, this is it, I'm going to become pregnant, you know? So there was that fear in me for a long time. And so now I go to college. Somewhere before I finished my university, I realized I am not close to my son, and I never talk about him, you know. So I finished university, but during that time, I actually, now when I got to the university, our youth pastor approached me for courting.
Okay.
So that was the next pastor I accepted. So I accepted the pastor because I knew this one will not get me pregnant, you know. So I knew we will not go that far. So I had the boyfriend. Our youth pastor was my boyfriend.
Wow.
in the university. And I would say that was actually the moment or the years that I prayed the most.
Wow.
Because he had schedules for me. And he would call me, Mom, we are praying next week. And these are the prayer items, you know. So I got into a system of prayer and fasting for that period.
Wow.
And I thank God because there are other friends, even close friends of mine, we joined university with, but they never were able to complete their university education because one, we were in a foreign country, and there was this freedom that people were not used to when they were in high school.
Yeah.
So then there was a lot of relationships cohabiting in the university and stuff like that. So there are people who actually got derailed by relationships, so they never got to finish universities. Others got pregnant, others got married in the university and forgot about their education. So this really helped me to also keep in track, because now my boyfriend is a pastor and he's in Kenya and he's praying for me and we are praying, you know.
And you're praying
so,
and fasting.
Yes. So, so I go through university. But now the challenge again came when I am done with the university and the pastor wants to get married like ASAP. I'm like, wow, I have not graduated. I don't even have my certificate. This guy wants to get married, you know. I don't have a job. So I'm like, no, let's do this. Can we just wait? He's like, no, we can't wait.
Wow.
I've waited for long now. We just get married. So I'm like, I don't think I have that speed you're having. So please let me just release you. It's like, you sure? Yeah. He's like, he said he can't wait again. So I released him. He got married. And I was left. Then I started volunteering in the children organization that I work for right now. And the reason actually I really enjoy working with children is because that childhood challenges that I passed through, I promised myself when I got to high school that when I am done with my education, I want to be in a position to help young children, especially girls, go through an education. So when I got this opportunity to volunteer, it was a dream come true for me to support children to go through an education. So, so now I'm in Nairobi. I'm working for a children organization, and somewhere, of course, now years are going, and we broke up with the pastor, and my friends are starting to get married. So there is that urge that I need to get married too. So, but there are people who came my way, and every time I disclosed that I had a baby, because the first guy I did not disclose, I just kept quiet, because I didn't know, you know, there are those friends who just became friends, and you're like, by the time you're realizing you're very close friends, that's when now they're asking you to date them, and it becomes hard because it was not something that I was accustomed to talk about my past and my son. So somehow we are dating. I have not disclosed to him, but I'm planning, and then my friend tells him that Tunai has a baby.
Wow.
So the guy blows and he writes me a big message, and he's like, oh, you've committed sins of omission and commission.
Wow, yes. Sins of omission and commission.
Yes, so that's how we broke up. So then from there I asked myself, that's when now I had a meeting with myself, and I asked God to help me to move on, to accept my situation, learn from it, and not just learn from it, also enable other people learn from my experience, such that I wouldn't want that somebody passes through my hands and they pass through the experience I passed through. So they should be in a position to learn from my experience, so that they don't make the same mistakes that I made. One mistake is, don't ever go to your boyfriend's place if you're not ready to go beyond just being a boyfriend, please don't. Yeah, there is that limit should be there. It's
Those
that, yeah, those boundaries. Yeah, and if you have to, then you have to have somebody
with you,
so that you, unless you know, because I wouldn't want somebody to find themselves where I found myself too. Maybe probably you are in my situation, you already have a baby, and you're wondering how to go about it. It's good to talk about it because that mate will come. Your right mate will come. Because there are people who came to my life asking me for a hand in marriage, and when I told them about my baby, they were like, Tunda, no. Others, when I tell them, they will just back off, like slowly, quietly, and disappear. You know, they're out of the picture. But anyone who ever told me that, Tunda, we cannot go on with this relationship because you have a baby, I was grateful to them. I would actually thank them. Like, thank you very much for being sincere, because I don't want a situation where I'm in a home where my son does not feel part of the family.
True.
And I would actually tell whoever who came to me, like, my baby is like my boob. They're part of my body. So you cannot separate. So if I am to come, I'm coming wholesale. You know? Yes. So now to my husband.
This is interesting. You have a husband, you're happily married. But now, because of what you've gone through with men, how did he become the one?
This guy looked for me.
What?
After 19 years. He's Tunda. So Timothy was my classmate and desk mate in class 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
And what happened, he was, when we got to class 1, because we were schooling from our kindergarten, so we are not part of the school, the Enableable Primary School. So when we come, then the boys, the girls were told to line up, then the boys were told to pick the girls they want to sit with, because it was a must for a boy and a girl to sit in the same desk. So Timothy chose me to be his desk mate. So in class 1, class 2. Then in 1992, in class 3, there was a tribal clashes in Narok between the Kikuyus and the Maasais. And it was very bad because a lot of people lost their lives, homes were burned, you know, and people lost a lot of properties and stuff like that. So they were part of the people who were actually evicted from the Maasai land. So they leave Narok and they go. Then in 2012, Timothy remembers he's looking for a wife and he's thinking, I want an appropriate wife. So I don't know how he knew I would be appropriate by then, because he, you know, so he's like, he remembers there was a Tunda Lepore who was, his desk mate. So because he works in a bank, he has his manager to look for me in the system. You know.
Wow.
So they get into the system, he searches my names. Luckily, he gets me.
Wow.
And the number was still active. I no longer use that number. I think that was just meant for him to get me. And that was it.
Wow.
So he calls, he texts me. He's like, hi, Tunda, could you have studied in an Enableable Primary School in the 1990s? And I'm thinking, oh my God, it must be very old. 1990s. Who was in school? I said, oh, then I sat down and I was like, yes, by the way, I was in school in 90s. So I'm like, okay. So I text back, yes. So he calls me, my name is Tim. Are you in Nairobi? I'm like, no, right now I'm I'm in Narok. So he's like, do you ever come to Nairobi? Yeah, that's where I stay. I'm working there. So he's like, okay, when are you coming? I said, in 2 weeks' time. So he's like, when you come, please call me.
Wow.
So I saved him, team 1990s.
That's so
Yeah.
creative.
So then I come back to Nairobi. I forgot there was this dude who was looking for me. So on a Wednesday, I'm at work. He calls me. He's like, "Hey, Tunda, did you come back?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I came back last week." So he's like, "When can I see you? Do you ever come to town?" Like, I pass town every day because I was staying in Thika Road. And I was working in Gong Road. So, so I'm like, excuse me. Let me see you today. Because one, I was so sure he was looking for my sister Sarah.
Oh, why?
Because when my sister went to the US, some of people or guys who were interested on her would look for her and they wouldn't find her, so they would look for me to
Connect
get,
you
yeah.
to. Oh.
Excuse me.
So you're sure he was looking for your sister and not you? Wow. I know the feeling though.
Yeah, so we go to, I get to town. He's like, meet me at the Dormans coffee house. It was in Mamangina. It's no longer there. So it was not a big place. So it was somewhere you will see everyone from the door. So I stood up by the door side and I called. So I'm looking for someone to pick the call. Who's picking the call? So some other guy picks the call. And I just carried and I went to this guy. Kumbe, this human being, I hung up. Forgive me. So I go to this guy. And somehow there are two ladies with me already at the doorstep. So then apparently these girls are also going to this guy. So by the time we are getting to this man, we are three of us. So we greet him and we sit down. So me, I'm thinking he was also waiting for this guy, for these ladies, and he's thinking that I came with these ladies.
Oh.
So we sit down. So it's like, hi, and so a good thing, Timothy had already seen my call. So he saw me because he saw my photo from the system. So already he knew how I looked like. Yeah, so. And luckily again, this guy happened to be his customer in the bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he comes, he greets him. "Hi, Mr. So-and-so. Very sorry, this is my guest." So I was like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I was like,
you're in the wrong meeting.
Yeah, I'm like, I just looked at them and I was like, you guys must be very good.
Wow.
You just allowed me to sit here and none of you knows me and I'm here seated with you guys.
Wow. Maybe everyone thought you knew someone.
The girls knew I knew this guy. So I was coming to meet them. Just the way I also thought that they were coming to meet him and I was also coming to meet him. The dude thought that the three of us are together. So
wow.
So that's where now I excused myself. We went and sat with him, and from the word go, he told me, "Tunda, I'm looking for a wife, and that's why I was actually looking for you."
Wow.
And he told me he was looking for me, not my sister, because I was like, I was so sure you were looking for my sister, you know. So and he tried to explain. So I had those vivid memories about him when we were young. He was very short that time. And he was called Monga. So I remembered the Monga name. I didn't remember the Timothy name. So so from there, by that time he's looking for me. I'm actually in another relationship and I'm seriously going to get married.
Wow.
So I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry, you're late.
Oh no.
You're late because I'm in this relationship. I actually introduced him to this guy and he was like, that was okay because 19 years is a long time for people to reunite. Yeah. So I was prepared. Most probably I might find you married or all these situations. I had already assessed them. You know? So it's like, okay. So he's like, I was like, we can just be friends.
Wow.
It's like, yeah. And he was like, now I would love to, because I also told him about my son. It's like, I would love to meet your son. I was like, okay.
So he agreed to just be friends.
Yeah, so we are friends. This other side, I'm very serious. I've actually gone to meet their people.
Wow.
Yeah, I met the maternal grandmother, paternal grandmother. You know,
you were deep.
Yeah, I was very deep in it. But my mother was like, no.
Oh, she didn't approve of him?
No, she hadn't. I tried, actually. It was hard. She was like, no. There was just something that was off about the two of them or something. So, and I think also it was just divine that that it goes like that. Now Timothy comes also to my workplace, sees what I do. The holiday comes, my son is home, he came and met him. And this was different from the relationship that I was in, because from my previous relationship, my boyfriend or my fiancé then did not take time to actually get to bond with my son and get to know him and bring him close, such that even if we were to get married, then the boy will not feel like a stranger, or we have a stranger in the house, you know. So that was something that was lacking from that relationship that I was in. But this guy, he's come, he's my friend.
Timothy.
Yeah, and he's making all these efforts. He knows where I'm working. He's, you know, he wants to meet my son. Then somehow they bonded. But now this other side, it's not like I am focusing on him already. I'm still in a relationship, and it's very serious, but my family is resistant on this other side. So then there were a lot of things that were not compatible, you know, that compatibility. There are things that we had friction about. So, and I realized there's just a problem, something off about this. He's a very good guy, very good, but not for me, you know.
Wow.
So I break up.
Wow.
And it was bad because he felt very bad. He was heartbroken, and it was not my intention to really heartbreak him. That because he had been very good to me. Just apart from that, and that was also very key to me.
Yeah, your son, you mentioned
my
he's
son,
part of you.
And also myself, just to feel that I am free to be me. Because I am a very playful human being. So if somebody does not understand that, then they will have a problem. I am very vocal. That's another problem. For him, he was reserved. Then he's this person also who is very professional, even at home, you know. So if you're to talk to him, he wants you to look at him on the eyes, you know. We had issues like sometimes like, your friend didn't look at me on the eye. I'm like, oh goodness, they are my friend.
Not you.
Yeah, you know. So, but the other, naturally, like, he's just a good, very good man. And I after we broke up, and I really felt that heartbreak. And his friends would call me asking me what's up, you know. It's like it just has to be like that. And I actually prayed God that I will. This guy, I will not get married until this guy gets married. And
that was your prayer?
I prayed and I told God, I will not get married until this guy gets married. Because I would really feel that guilt that I'm here moving on, and somebody else is hurting and they've never moved on, and I'm the reason, you know. So, and God hears prayers. The guy got married, got into a relationship. When he got married, now my husband now was like around 1 year or so, because when we broke up, I actually told him we've broken up. So, but now we started dating officially after 1 year.
Okay.
So he asked me to get into a relationship with him. So I was like, okay, now we can. I had told him no first. But now, after the guy got married, I told him now we can go ahead and get married. He didn't know what I was looking for or what I was waiting for.
Wow.
That was what I was waiting for. So I said yes, and so we started the journey of courtship, and they bonded a lot with my son. He took time to get to know him, and they became friends. And in 2015, we got married.
Aww.
And now we are happily married. We are blessed with 2 more kids. We have now a son who is now in university, our firstborn, and the secondborn in going to PP1. Yeah, and a 1-year-old young man. Yes, and an adopted son who is now in class 7.
Wow.
Yes.
And it took you quite some time to get there, like to who you are today. No one can even think that you've gone through all that you've faced that rejection in the society. You were a prefect, CU, everything gone wrong.
Yeah.
But we really thank God. I really thank God for you, because seeing you today, you're an image of it's possible.
Right.
To come back, to bounce back up, you know, and to be a totally new person. So any prospects of another child, or what are you having in the future?
Not of my own. Probably I'll adapt when that urge comes for baby fevers. Can adapt a young one.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that
you really have that calling for children.
Yeah, I wanna continue mentoring, and what I do right now is also mentoring young people and girls, encouraging them to focus in education. And I share my story a lot so that they can learn from it and not ensure that they don't make the mistakes that I made in my life. And for those ones who've already, most probably you are like me and you have a baby today, you can always get that perfect man. The problem is sometimes we are impatient, you know.
Yeah.
Just let God and don't think about it so much. I didn't think about it, by the way, because I also learned that it's good to pray for your husband when we are young. Our Sunday school teacher will make us pray for our husbands.
Wow.
And in Sunday school, it's like, hey, let's kneel down, pray for your wife, pray for your husband. And you see, we are in primary, others in kindergarten, you know, we'll pray for our husbands then.
Wow.
So I think by the time we are old enough, we didn't need to pray for them again. So we already prayed. Yeah. We just focus, they will come. Yeah, so it's not something that has ever bothered me, that who will marry me. I never thought about it.
Wow.
But one thing I was so sure, I wanted somebody who will accept me together with my son.
Yes.
That one I was so sure, because I didn't want to land to any relationship where my baby does not feel part of the family.
Yeah. And God does answer prayers.
Right.
You said He bonded with your son even before you two were in a relationship.
Right.
And that must have spoken volumes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So thank you very much. Where can we find you on the socials?
I'm not very active on social media, but most probably I should start being active.
No pressure.
Yes, but I'm on Facebook, Tunda Lepore.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm also not on Instagram, unless you're on Instagram.
I am, but I'm not. I'd rather not mention it because I'm never active. So
okay.
It's a very dormant account. So please look for me on Facebook. I can talk there.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you very much. Last week you challenged me. You know, you talked a lot about your heritage and your roots. And today I said, okay, challenge accepted.
You did well.
Thank you. Thank you for your approval.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You are now an indigenous woman. Yes.
I'm proud to be one as well.
Good, good.
Wow, thank you for sharing your story, and for this far you've come. It really is Ebenezer, and we are really excited about the future and everything going forward. And just thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I want to thank God so much that He allowed me also go through that experience so that I can be helped to others, and two, that He allowed and made sure that there were people who were there to support me through the journey. And my mother is my hero. I call her that. Yeah, she really supported me through it all, even when I thought she was a lioness and a lion at the same time. So she still was a mom, a sweet mom.
Wow.
Yeah, and my auntie also really made sure that I went through the tests of teenage pregnancy safely, and now I am here today. Yeah, proudly. I am working, I am married, I have children, and I am an asset to the community.
Yes,
Yeah.
that you are. I can attest to that. Wow, that was Tunda Munga in studio, and hers is one that I'm sure so many people out there, if there's anything that, like she said, if there's anything that you're not happy with in any point of your life, especially as a teenager, just speak up, because the first step is sharing, and when you share, then you can get help. And if you've missed the last episode, just tune in to Wema TV YouTube channel, and the playlist, The Conquerors. You see every single show that we've had there. And don't be afraid to let us know in the comments how you've been impacted by her story or any other Conqueror story. And we're really thankful for you, our viewers, staying with us here on The Conqueror Show every week, all the time. Till next week, my name is Laura Lepore, and keep it Wema TV, the voice of hope.